social contract that includes service delivery. So back in 2007, this group already started. They started to mobilize their people, and they actually freed some of their compatriots that were arrested by the police in 2017, and they attacked the police station to free them. And that was the start of an insurgency that started off fairly localized, but we can see that with the involvement of some international terrorist movement back in 2019, they moved from strength to strength to such an extent that it became a regional threat for the region now.
Yes. Now, I think obviously, we know that when it comes to situations like these, you will get people who will take opportunity. You will get organizations that are opportunists that will thrive, obviously, amongst all the conflict and the like as well. And, apart from that, obviously, there is a major international interest in that part of the world. And I mentioned $60 billion worth of gas. And we know that some of the major players across the world are present at this point in time in terms of the development of these offshore gas rights. Willem? I think.
Sorry, Annette. It seems to me that we don't have a good connection, but I can anticipate that you asked about the LNG, $60 billion that for the peak there. We know that they still haven't extracted 1 liter of gas, as they are still preparing. They are building and all the refineries, etc., etc. It's a major investment. We took it looking at an investment of Total alone of $20 billion. So that is massive for an area. It's the single biggest investment in Africa in recent history, and it's the biggest gas finds in Africa. So Mozambique being one of the poorest countries in the southern hemisphere, it's got a lot of promise for them. It's got a lot of promise if they deal with it correctly. But we also see that they speak about the curse of resources in Africa. We see that we tend in Africa not to trickle down or to filter down the resources or the proceeds of the resources to the local communities that are in dire need of that. And that is also part of the consent that is risen from amongst the local people. A country like Nigeria, they say that they generated $500 billion from the oil that they pumped from their resources, but still it remains one of the poorest countries in the world. So it seems to me that we have to convert. We will have to step up, and we will have to make sure that we break that curse and that we also benefit the local communities. If we do not benefit them, these communities tend to be marginalized, they are unhappy, and that is a fertile breeding ground for these radical groups to move in and profit from that.
Yes, and obviously, we see the trend, and you gave the example of Nigeria, but we see this trend in Africa, and we know the continent is never short of resources. We've seen what has happened in the DRC as well, and then we know about blood diamonds. We know about, these conflicts that have been taking place with disastrous consequences in many countries across Africa, and it does appear now it's a turn of Mozambique.
Yeah, we unfortunately, it seems to me that we have a habit in Africa of mismanagement and the lack of good governance of these natural resources. Africa, they estimate that they only discovered about 40% of the resources that are available. So there's much more left in Africa. But ever since we can see, ever since the 60s, when many of these countries received independence, it seems that successive governments did not manage to convert all these resources, all the wealth that we get from the countries, back into the benefit of the countries. A lot of corruption is prevalent. It seems that some of these leaders and the ruling elite pocket most of the money, and it doesn't go back to where it belongs, to the people of the country that need to benefit from those resources.
Exactly. And I think, if Africa doesn't watch itself, and the leadership, the political leadership in Africa are not careful, we know there's a lot more focus at this point in time, because the world is basically been affected massively as a result of this pandemic. And we know with the scramble for Africa, the Americans, the Europeans, the Chinese, the Turks, the Indians, in fact, everybody is actually wanting a slice of the African pie at this point in time.
That's correct. They want a slice. You have to balance. It's a balancing act that we have to play. South Africa, like a country like Mozambique, for instance, they don't have the infrastructure or the financial muscle to invest in order to extract all these resources. So they have to allow for foreign investment and bring some extra money in the country, and then they have to manage it. We have to be very careful that they do not exploit the resources, that they get back on their investment, but also that the profits and the gains are plowed back into the countries, into the regions, into infrastructure, into building the economy in order to create jobs. Because at the end of the day, natural resources are not sustainable. They run dry. And if we do not build an economy around manufacturing, etc., apart from just on exporting these minerals, once these minerals run dry and the resources run dry, the economy will also collapse. We have to be wise. We have to become smart as Africa in terms of that.
Well, Willem, thank you very much for that, and for that update and unpacking some of the issues that we have been concerned about with regard to what's taking place in Mozambique. All the best to you.
Thank you very much.
Willem Els, the Senior Training Coordinator on Terrorism and Explosives-Related Incidents at the Transnational Threats and International Crimes Program at the Institute for Security Studies, with us this morning.